Chains, Part 9, by dhonash, narrated by Vern Henderson. I took a moment to listen closer at the wooden door. The voices that I had heard were getting more and more distant. I braced myself for what would be the first direct light after several days in this damnable darkness and flipped the switch. After a few seconds of blinding white, I could tell that I was in some kind of cellar. Cast on the dirt floor of this small chamber were some fresh boards with bent nails. It appeared that they had once covered some type of secret passage into the catacombs. The very one I had come through. There were shelves chock full of preserved food items. It was a full-on nuclear bunker situation. I was careful not to gorge. I knew that if I did somehow make my way out of here, I'd be in for one hell of a hike out. The preserved pears in particular made my dear mushrooms a distant memory at best. Suddenly, I heard some footsteps overhead. I smacked down the light switch and froze. The door into the house was a much more efficient sound block than the old wooden floors. I could clearly make out the words. "Where the fuck is Chris?" said the man from above, his voice full of vitriolic authority. "The one night we ask him to make sure he's around and he's off doing fuck knows what. Why can't people just stick to a plan?" A stern old woman replied evenly, "You leave that tone for the other boys and those little whores y'all love so much. Make no mistake, because I won't be repeating myself. Corey's locked himself in a fucking slaughterhouse, listening to nobody while we got the main man locked down there," he continued brazenly. "Make no mistake," the old woman replied dangerously. Immediately there was some kind of scuffle. Dust and plaster fell from the ceiling of the cellar as I heard several dull impacts among protests from the formerly irate man. "Ma," he began to plead, but his words ended abruptly as I heard him fall to the floor. The grisly bludgeoning sounds continued for a moment until one blow hit the floor above me and nearly scared me out of my skin. I stood there for a few seconds, fists clenched, teeth grit, trying to be silent. I heard the old woman kneel down, and in a low voice full of rage, she said, "You dare speak ill of his chosen again, and you'll be next. Whatever he decides is law in our eyes, you know this. Till you're man enough to endure what he has, till you're man enough to stand where he stands, you're just a tool. Make no mistake." Her terrifying declaration was already ringing in my ears when she suddenly screamed at the top of her lungs, "And I ain't your ma!" I involuntarily shrank away from the force of her voice, just inches away from my head through the ceiling of the cellar, and found myself on my knees in the dirt while a volley of blows landed on the man above me. I heard her walk out and let the fervor of the moment pass. This was far beyond kidnapping and imprisonment, far beyond torture. This is some type of organized insanity. It was in that moment of clarity that it hit me. Though I couldn't quite place it, the stern old woman's voice was one I hadn't heard before.